You may have visited the Warren-Trumbull County Public Library several times, but may not have ventured to the second floor. There you can find a treasure trove of items and documents dating back over 100 years in the Sutliff Museum.
The Sutliff Museum opened in November of 1971 under the directives of Phoebe Sutliff, the daughter of Levi and Phoebe Sutliff.
The one-room museum is overseen by Melissa Carmen.
Most of the items were Sutliff family items. They came from their house, which was located on High Street. It's no longer standing. It's now a parking lot to St. Mary's Church. Other items have been donated along the years that still represent the Victorian era, mostly belongings of Levi and Phoebe, the mother and father. Their daughter, Phoebe, who left the endowment for the Sutliff Museum.
The family was also involved in the Underground Railroad.
Plus we have the hobble, the slave hobble, which is one of our really interesting pieces. It's a iron rod that was formed around a slave's leg. The slave escaped from Loudoun County, Virginia, and made it to Cincinnati, where Levi found him and took him to a blacksmith, had it removed, and brought it home to Warren.
And the small museum's decor often draws as much attention as its historical items.
The biggest comment that we hear a lot is about the carpet. It's very unique. It really catches your eye. And the next thing that we hear is the wallpaper, because people like to touch it because it looks so real. It is just wallpaper that mimics fabric hanging on a wall.
Carmen says it shows how one small family can have a big impact on history.
They helped many slaves reach freedom up to Canada. It's interesting to see how they lived as well. Children really like to try on our hobble. We do have a reproduction that is our teaching tool with the hobble. So they like to see how it was like for the slave to have that on his leg, or walking all those miles.
The Sutliff Museum is open from 2 to 4 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday. It organizes lectures and tours throughout Warren with help from the volunteer organization Friends of the Sutliff Museum. And down the river in Mahoning County is the Struthers Historical Society. The museum is located inside the house of Alexander Frankfort, the city's last surviving member of the Civil War.
We're very excited. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary of our house.
The house was built by Frankfort in 1884.
Our house was donated by the Frankfort's descendants in 1986 after his daughter Alma lived here for 93 years. The reason Alexander is important to us is he was in 27 battles of the Civil War, and he came from Little Struthers, Ohio, and as far as I can read in the Ohio 90th Regiment book that I found, he is the only one from Mahoning County that was in that company.
The museum includes items from the Frankfort Library, the nearby Hopewell Furnace, and a collection of documents and pictures.
We have briquettes that line the furnace at the Hopewell Furnace. We have a part of a shovel, an iron bracket. We have pieces of ore. We were very lucky that Dr. John White, who was head of the archaeology department and anthropology department at YSU, donated all these items to our historical society. Nobody else has these but us. And this is pivotal because it started the iron industry in Ohio. I wanted to point out that we have a turned chimney, which is very unusual. Not too many houses have this, but in those days, they didn't have a central furnace. But every room had a little stove, like the one right here in the corner, to heat the room. We each have our own history. We each have people that came from this valley that helped build the valley. I mean, if it wasn't for the little towns, they fed the big town. They fed the people from the little towns is what worked in the mills and different places. I mean, they're the hardworking people that built the valley.
And be sure to watch Monday's Daily Buzz for our story on the Todd Engine Museum in Youngstown and East Liverpool's Pottery Museum.